Hi everyone, this is a beautiful 10.5 carat piece of Pharaoh's Eye rough sapphire. It's called a Pharaoh's Eye because of that yellow eye in the middle of the stone. It can be triangular or sometimes more roundish. And this is how this stone came to me, already semi-preformed and with some pretty significant flaws in it as well. Beautiful light cross table. But there is a nice clean piece of crystal in there, and I think I should be able to get the yellow in the middle, centralised. So I'm going to start just cutting out those flaws and then see what sort of shape we're left with. Okay, and this was actually gifted to me by a friend, so thank you kindly to that friend. So when I'm getting rid of the flaws, I'm trying to take them out on the same angle that they are, so that we're trying to get the clean crystal without taking off any excess material until we see exactly what's going on. And sometimes you can actually feel the chunks of sapphire coming away. So that one, which was just subsurface, you can see where it's coming away along the fracture zone. Okay, so I've almost got that one out there. What a beautiful stone. Let's get those ones off the edge now. So when we're doing this by hand, we're trying to hold the stone down onto the lap at roughly the same angle that we can see the floor appearing on. Okay, so I've done a bit of preforming. Got the flaws out. There's just some little tiny bits and pieces left of them. There was a few that went a little bit deeper than what I hoped for. So now we've got this unusual shaped piece of rough. So while I was hoping to maybe get a round or a hexagon, now I'm thinking possibly freeform. Now if we look at this, this is a party colour, obviously. Now we're a bit off table here. So where you get that really strong blue there, right, that is table, where you get the most intense blue in a party colour. And there we go, where you get that green coming in is cross table. So table, cross table. So we'll be actually cutting this stone, you know, about 45 degrees off table. Not exactly, but sometimes there's just no choice. And I think with party colours, as long as we get that yellow into the Qld, or the keel of the stone, then we're going to get the stone lightening and brightening up. Now, I don't particularly like that exact shape that it's in. I don't think it will work. I don't think it will perform very well. I prefer two longer sides on a freeform. So I'm just going to preform it a little bit more and shape it up just a tiny bit before I dop it. Now, this side here on the right is shallower, and the one on the left is steeper. And we've probably got that little keel there. I would prefer it to be just over to the right a little bit, but I will have to bring in that right hand side a bit to give us enough depth to facet it correctly. And I prefer having 5 or 6 sides on my freeforms. So this should be nice. I'll just preform it a bit more and then we'll dop it up. This is more the sort of shape that I like when it comes to freeforms. I have the 2 longer sides, not parallel, but not too far apart. They'll only be, depending on what index wheel you're using, maybe two indexes apart on a 64 index, or maybe 3 or 4 on a 96 index. I like it tapering to a point and possibly even a point at the base as well, but I'll just put a couple of little corners there. I will have to bring in that shallower side, so the yellow is going to be offset a little bit, but as long as it's in the keel, it will help to brighten up the whole stone. Okay, so now I'm going to dop it. Just dop it up and we'll start cutting and seeing what angles and what indexes we're going to cut at. So I'm just going to show you my dopping method again. Okay, I'm not going to use a cone dop though. Okay, so we take a dop stick. Yeah, I do use cone dops for dopping and for transferring. We'll take some high temperature dopping wax. So I'm running out of. I just use a Bic lighter. When I was originally taught, I was taught with the little metho burner and that sort of setup, but I just find this easier. Okay, so I'm just heating up the wax and getting some of the dopping wax onto the dop stick. And then I'm just going to put a little flat onto the dop stick, which we're going to sit our stone on. So I've got the quill free spinning. We've got our stone, which has a flat ground onto it, which is where the table will be. So we just sit the stone onto the dop stick, and I'm just slowly turning the quill around, and the lighter is heating up the stone, the wax and the dop stick. You get a little drip like that. I'll just sort of push it up again, and I'm pushing the stone down. So I'm just heating it up, trying to visually center the stone. And then pushing it down so that I make sure it's flat and flush onto the dop stick. You can sort of see when everything gets hot enough that the wax sort of smooths onto the stone and the dop stick. And the beauty of dopping with wax is that if we don't have it centered, we can just simply heat it up a bit and move it over wherever it needs to go. Okay, so that is dopped up. I'm going to start roughing in some indexes and some mains. So the first thing I want to do when cutting a freeform is find out what indexes are the sides that I want to put in. Now I'm using a 96 index wheel simply because there is more indexes or indices. So you can get a much finer adjustment to work out exactly what your outline shape is going to be. So I'll just line up the first, so the longer side there, which roughly looks like, just make sure that the dot stick's locked in. And it's on 90 degrees. And I'm just estimating what I think the index will be, lining it up with the side of the stone. So that's looking like a 41 there. So I'll just start touching it in, lowering it onto the lap, touching it in, and seeing where it's grinding and if I need to cheat it either left or right. And it's looking like I'm just going to have to cheat it to a little bit. It's hitting over to the left and not on the right, so I'll just cheat it over, or I'm actually going to move it over one index, so it'll be now 40. Okay, somewhere in between. So once I've found that first side, which is now 40, I'll get a texter and mark it on. Okay, so I'll go around and I'll mark in where the sides are, where the outline shape will be of my stone. That way I don't have to write it down and then double check it. It's right there in front of you on the index wheel. So I'll just go around and do that.